I might just have a shiny forehead today. Make sure my glasses are on straight and it looks stupid. Okay, that works. There's a question I get asked constantly, like clockwork. Not just at work, but in my comments, in my inbox, even at Target. Lauren, has someone ever woken up at the funeral home? It's always delivered half jokingly, like people think it's an urban legend, a mortuary myth, if you will, but I'm here to tell you it's not. There are real documented cases, recent ones, where a person was declared dead, transported to a funeral home, and only then did someone notice they were still breathing. So today, my little death detectives, we're going on a field trip. Hop aboard the Morbid school bus. I'm your host, the driver, your embalmer, and God willing, not your pronouncer of death. And we are diving into 3 real stories of people who were declared dead too soon. Each case gets weirder, wilder, and more unsettling, and after each one, I'm gonna break it down for you like a funky little mortuary professor with opinions and coffee breath. So let's go. Morbid Monday, talking death and weird decay. Morbid Monday, put your casket, fears away. It's fine, they're definitely dead. Probably, most likely. Intro, go here, right now. Thank you. Bye-bye. No, don't leave. Our first stop is Iowa, home of corn, kindness, and apparently body bags that breathe. January 2023, a 66-year-old woman is in hospice care at Glen Oaks Alzheimer's Special Care Center in Urbandale. She's declining, she's near the end, everyone is expecting it, and at 6 in the morning, she's pronounced dead by, drumroll please, a nurse practitioner. Now, I'm not throwing shade at NPs. I've worked with some of the best of them. But this one spent 5 minutes checking her pulse and breathing. 5 minutes. That's barely enough time to scroll your ex's new girlfriend's Instagram page. The body is placed into a cloth bag, not refrigerated, not embalmed, just zipped up and sent to Ann Kenny Funeral Home about 45 minutes away. Family's been notified. Death paperwork's been started. We're in full-blown end game mode. And then the funeral home unzips the bag and she starts breathing. Can you imagine being that funeral director? You've got gloves on, maybe sipping your morning coffee, and boom, your corpse is breathing. That is not what we mean when we say we're a live wire. That would just ruin your day. 911 is called. She's rushed to the hospital. She actually survives for another 2 days. That's not a clerical error. That's a human being who still had time left. Let's talk about this. In Iowa, nurse practitioners are allowed to pronounce death under certain conditions, but it's considered best practice to have a second nurse verify. And you better be damn sure, especially if you're not a doctor. Now, in funeral homes, we're trained to look for signs of life, but we're not pronouncers. That happens before you get to us. So this poor woman's survival was thanks to a sharp-eyed mortician going, that body is suspiciously alive. So lesson here, if you ever have the chance to double check whether someone is dead, maybe you should take it. You don't want a guest appearance on Morgue Makeover Resurrection Edition. Okay, class. Next stop, Michigan, land of lakes, Motown, and one of the most horrifying mispronouncements in modern memory. It's August 2020, and 20-year-old Tamisha Beauchamp has cerebral palsy. She's at home when she suddenly struggles to breathe. The family calls 911. Paramedics arrive and perform 30 minutes of CPR, then stop. Now, this is where it gets jaw-droppingly bad. They call the hospital to report the death. The doctor, who's not on site, confirms death over the phone. He never saw her, never touched her, just, yep, sounds dead. You pronounced her, right? Carry on. So they bag her up. She gets transported to the funeral home in Detroit. 3 hours later, staff unzip the body bag, and she's breathing, and her eyes are open. I can't even say plot twist because this is just medical failure dressed as Netflix horror. She's rushed to the hospital, kept on life support, but sadly, she passes away 2 months later. Her family sues the paramedics and the city for $50 million. So let's unpack this like a bag that's breathing, shall we? First, CPR was done, but they didn't attach a heart monitor. The family said she was still breathing, but nobody believed them. Then the doc says, sure, she's dead. Over the phone? What is this, a telehealth seance? This is why protocol matters. You can't just phone it in, literally. In the funeral world, this case hit us like a freight train, because imagine if the funeral home staff hadn't unzipped the bag for a few more hours, or if she'd gone to refrigeration. That's the stuff of lawsuits, headlines, and morticians' reoccurring nightmares. It's not just about being dead, it's about being sure. All right, final stop, Nebraska, where apparently even death is polite and slow to confirm plans. It's June 2024. 74-year-old Constance Glantz is in hospice. She's expected to pass soon. Around 9:45 a.m., the nurse says she's gone. No second nurse, no vital sign equipment, just looks like it. The body is sent to Bethoras, Mazer, and Love Funeral Home. 2 hours later, staff hear breathing noises. They rush in and find she is alive, so they start CPR. She survives the transport to the hospital and finally passes away officially that afternoon. Still, the state was like, yeah, no, you don't get to skip the blood pressure check, sweetie. The facility was then placed on probation, as they should. I'll say it again, expected to die soon is not the same as currently dead. You wouldn't leave a pizza in the oven just because it looks done. You test it. Why are we treating people like undercooked lasagna? She was nearly embalmed. The only thing that saved her was a well-trained mortuary staff member and a suspicious gasp. This is why morticians have trust issues and backup plans, and backup to the backup plans. All right, before we wrap up today's tour of wait, I wasn't dead yet, let's hit 3 of the most common morbid questions I get that people whisper like it's a funeral home urban legend. Number 1, has anyone ever been embalmed alive? Woo! Okay, first off, no, not that we know of. I've scoured the horror archives and morgue files. There is no documented case of someone being embalmed alive. If a person were still alive, even barely, there'd be reflexes, breathing, twitching, pulse. You'd notice something long before you ever reached for the trocar, I promise. The job comes with a built-in spidey sense for not quite dead yet. But if someone were embalmed alive, they would not survive the experience. Between the arterial incision, the embalming chemicals, and the pressure system, there's no going back. So no, but also, please don't make me find out. Number 2, can the dead sit up after they die? Ah yes, the old do dead bodies suddenly bolt upright question. I swear every time I post a behind the scenes clip, someone comments, I'd freak out if the body sat up, and like, same. Babe, me too. But here's the truth. No, dead bodies do not just sit up on their own. The whole thing comes from old horror flicks and maybe a few twitchy muscle spasms. What can happen is a little post-mortem movement due to rigor mortis setting in. Joints stiffening, limbs shifting. But if a body's full-on doing a Pilates crunch, something has gone terribly wrong. Either you're in a haunted house or someone faked their own death. So relax. No jump scares in this embalming room. If a body sits up, we're all running, and I will outrun you. I don't have to outrun the dead. I just have to outrun you. Number 3, do dead bodies make noises? You'd be amazed how many people think our prep room sounds like a haunted house. Like the bodies are back there groaning like zombies at a buffet at random. So let me clear this up. The dead do not randomly make sounds. They don't sigh, they don't moan, they don't whisper, I'm still here from the casket, okay? But if you're physically moving them, say from the stretcher to the table, and there's air trapped in the lungs or the throat, you might hear a little sigh or a gurgle. That's just air releasing. It's not intentional, it's not conscious, it's just physics. But trust me, if a body actually breathed, we would notice, and we would absolutely flip out, not in a good way. I might need counseling. So there you have it. No secret singing cadavers, just science, a lot of respect, and a teeny bit of bodily weirdness. So, what did we learn today, my little death detectives? We learned that being declared dead doesn't always mean you're done breathing. We learned that morticians are sometimes the last defense against medical oopsies. And we learned that no, bodies don't just randomly sit up or moan in the back room. Thank God. If today's video gave you chills, made you laugh, or made you double check your pulse, please give it a like, hit that subscribe button if you want more morbid misadventures, morbid adventures, and drop a comment below with your thoughts. Got a weird question you've always wanted to ask a mortician? Want to know if a body can decompose in space? Or why we put shoes on the dead when they're never gonna walk again? Slide into the comment section because the morbid suggestion box is always open. Thanks for riding along on the Morbid Magic School Bus with me, and until next time, stay weird, stay curious, and whatever you do, make sure they check your pulse twice. Wait, you need a mango. You need a mango kiss. Hold on.
Oh, my back.
Hi. They want to say hi to you. I can lift you up. Oh. Okay, well, I bored her. Love you. See you later. Just another morbid Monday.